How do you install a 12-volt split unit on a semi-truck? Today we're going to install this split unit on this semi-truck, and I'm going to do a step-by-step installation so you know how to do it. First thing we're going to do is go over the indoor and outdoor and the components used to install this split system. You're watching Taddy Digest. I'm Tad. Let's get started. So this is the indoor part, indoor wall mount. This is the outdoor part. This contains the 12-volt compressor, and you can see it right there in the bottom. We've got some cable rolled up. That's for the power, and you'll run that cable to the battery. Then we've got a plate for mounting the indoor part inside, and then we've got our hoses. So these are our line sets, and these are for the refrigerant to travel from the indoor to the outdoor unit. We've got our drain. This is installed for the indoor unit, and we've got some, looks like some bolts here. We're going to install the outdoor unit right here on the back of the cab, and then on the inside we're going to install the indoor unit right there. So indoor unit mounts there, and then there'll be a hole that we drill so that we can route the line sets through the hole to connect the two. Here's the cable that comes with the outdoor unit inside. You can see it rolled out. This is the connector that connects the outdoor and the indoor unit. And then this is the connections for the battery terminals, positive and negative. This is with the cover off the outdoor unit. You can see the 12-volt compressor. Then we've got the condenser fan and condenser coil. And now we can get to our mounting holes. So we'll probably put it up there, and then we'll mark the holes and make sure it's level. Got a torpedo level, and once it's level, then we're going to mark our 4 corners. Okay. Shouldn't take more than 4 bolts. So we're going to take and mark each corner. 2, and then those 2. 4 bolts should hold this. Make sure you get the right metal drill bit to be able to drill the hole. And then you're going to drill these 4 holes where you made your mark. And then inside we've got bolts, and we've got our Rivet nut. Got the hole drilled. I'm going to see if the Rivet nut fits. Looks like it does. We've got the Rivet nut gun, and that's where we're going to place that rivet onto that gun. Link in the description. Place it inside, and then boom, there you go. Look at that. And that's where we'll place our bolt through the cabinet of the outdoor unit, and then it'll screw right in. Beautiful. Now we're going to drill the rest of these holes. Here is the tool that we use to place the Rivet nuts in the holes. This is what it looks like. Link in the description for the tool. And once you get all 4 of your holes drilled and you place your Rivet nuts inside securely, now we have 4 places for mounting that outdoor unit with the bolts. So we got our outdoor unit. We're going to go ahead and take it and put it on the wall, and then I'll tell you the next step. So we've got spacers and rubber washers. We've got 4 of those we're going to use, and we're going to take and put those up here against that Rivet nut. And then we're going to run that bolt through the outdoor unit's frame, and then this is going to be in between that outdoor unit frame and the cab of the semi-truck. Setting the outdoor unit in place, make sure it lines up with the holes, and then we're going to take and place those spacers and rubber washers inside. So the rubber washer will go in between, and then the spacer will go inside. There it is, just like that. screw it in. You can see there's a little bit of space in between, and that rubber washer will keep this unit from vibrating, help to cancel out some of that noise, and that's how it should look right there. All right, we'll get the other bolts in place. We used a 13mm socket to tighten up the bolts. So just in case you wanted to know the size of the socket, it's 13mm. You're going to need a hole saw kit for drilling the hole so that you can route your wire through and your lines for your refrigerant. And this is what we're going to use, and we're going to make sure that we size this correctly. So this is probably going to work right here. That right there is 2 1/4. So use a hole saw kit. We got 2 bolts connected, and that's holding the unit up. And then we've got 2 more, and you can see where those rib nuts line up. Get a good extension, that way you can work with your ratchet outside the body or the chassis of the outdoor unit. And then make sure you snug up every single bolt. And it's snug. We got 4 bolts connected in place. I'm pulling on it, it's not going anywhere. And you may have to drill out these holes right here, this plastic, to make sure that your spacer goes inside. Here's where we're going to mount the indoor unit inside the cab, and we're going to place this board right here. We're going to use wood screws and screw it in because there's wood behind this. And then on that board, we're going to place this indoor unit. You want to make sure that you know that there are drain lines that have to exit this unit. So whichever drain you're going to use, make sure you take the plug off and cap the other drain, because you can drain out of the right or the left, and you want to angle it. So if it's coming out of the right, you want to put it like this. Coming out of the left, put it like this. Got some wood screws. Beautiful. I'm just going to put 4 wood screws, maybe 5. Oh yeah, that's on there. Probably put 1 in the middle as well. See how I got it leaning to the left a little? Yeah, that'll do it. Now we're going to take those wood screws and we're going to put a screw in each corner of the bracket of the indoor unit. There are 4 holes, 2 on each side, like this. And this indoor unit weighs definitely less than 10 pounds, so it's going to hold it. There's going to be no problem. I would say this was probably the easiest part of the installation, but you got to keep in mind that here's your power and here's your hookups for your refrigeration. So you want to make sure that, you know, if you're going to have to route them out the left side, that you're going to be okay with them, you know, being on the left side and coming below the unit or above the unit. This indoor unit is mounted. Now we're going to take with a spotter bit and we're going to drill a hole outside to make sure that we don't hit anything. And then once we know that we have clearance, then we're going to take and we're going to use our hole saw kit, and we're going to drill a hole with our hole saw kit. Now we're going to take and drill our hole right here.
Perfect.
Awesome. So hole is good. There's where the hole comes out right there. That'll work. Take your hole saw, drill your hole. Now we've drilled all the way through. Perfect. Now you want to make sure you install this piece so that you don't have water coming inside the cab. We're probably going to put some silicone on this, And also we're going to take and feed everything through this and then put our wires, our lines through the wall, and then put this in, because it would be hard to try to feed the wires and the line sets through with this stuck in the wall. Here's our hole. There we go. Now we're going to take and loosen up the cover for the connectors for the indoor unit, because we're getting ready to route our lines inside and connect them. And you can see when I released the caps that we had pressure, and that's good because that is quality control right there. Making sure that they have pressure and there's no leaks. That's a good sign. There we go. There's our smaller line, our larger line, and we want to put oil around the connectors when we connect them. That way you get a good, easy thread on and a good connection, and nothing binds up or you don't cross thread. The connectors that have the ports on them, those are the ones that go to the outdoor section, because you want to be able to service from the outside. These are the indoor, they don't have ports. Separately. All right, now we're going to feed those tubes inside. And the wire. That should be good enough. Right. Yep, that'll work, Nick. All right, we're going to take the plug from the outdoor unit and plug it into the indoor unit, like so. That's plugged in, and then we took our cap that was off of the drain port on the left side, and we put it on the right side because we're going to use the drain port on the left side. We're draining to the left. So our drain pad is going to fill with water, and it's going to go to the left side of the unit. You can see how we fed the wires through. This is how it should look so far, and this is how you connect the indoor unit vapor and liquid line. So you need this piece to be able to connect your lines to your indoor unit. This looks like a diaphragm, like a metering device. So that's interesting. Now I'm going to show you how to connect your refrigerant lines to the indoor unit. We're going to take this piece here, and we're going to take it and slide it in place. Then we're going to take this piece and we're going to put it over like this. Then we're going to take the larger line to go on top like that, and the smaller line to go on the bottom like this. And I'm actually going to take and run this around here so it's kind of out of the way like this. And then this piece right here will hold it in place after we take and put these two Allen head bolts inside here. There's one that goes in here like this, and then the other one goes here like this, and you screw those in first. Then once you get those tight, then you put this piece in place over here, and then you screw it in and it holds it. Just so you know, this is what it looks like, and we did put some oil on these connectors before we slid them in place. So you connect that like that. Get an Allen tool to screw the Allen bolts in. Make sure it's nice and tight. After you tighten these two bolts up, then we're going to take and we're going to put this little bracket in place, and then we've got one more Allen head screw that we're going to screw in. So that will hold our connectors, our lines in place. Looks like the Allen head is a little bit bigger for this one. Tighten this one up. All right, now our indoor connections are secure. We'll get some wire ties, wire tie this up, silicone the hole or spray foam, and then we'll poke a hole for our drain line. I'm gonna go ahead and connect the outdoor connections next. Use zip ties. It'll be more professional, and you're a professional, so do professional things. Look at that. Take your job from ugly, beautiful in 10 seconds with a zip tie. Now you're going to take and unscrew the cap. And this is where you're going to connect one of your lines, and it's most likely going to be your liquid line from your condenser, like this. Oh, got to take this piece off. And screw it on here. And then you've got one more line, and that is your suction line. And we're going to figure out where to connect it. And I think it's going to be right here on the compressor, I'm pretty sure. See where that bolt is? We're going to take that bolt off, and then that bolt's going to go through this hole, and then our suction line goes in the compressor. Because remember, this is air conditioning. We're taking vapor, it's coming into the suction line of the compressor, and then from there we got the discharge line out of the compressor going into the condenser, and then we've got the condenser taking that vapor and de-superheating, condensing, subcooling. It turns back into a liquid, and then it goes through the liquid line to the evaporator. The evaporator boils off that liquid, it becomes a vapor again, then goes through the suction line back to the compressor. So let's take this bolt off. Make sure you route your wires and your lines through the cabinet right here. That way you can actually put the cover back on, and now you can see where this line goes. And we've got the port facing us, so it's serviceable, because that's what matters, serviceability after this is installed. Screw in the bolt, tighten it up. Make sure you put oil on everything as far as the connectors. Got the vacuum pump. We're about to spot the hole for the drain. I'm going to go ahead and hook up my connectors. You can see I've got two adapters for this air conditioner here, so I can hook up my regular manifold gauges, and I've got one for the low side and the high side. So this right here is the low side, so we're going to take and connect that, and then we got one for the high side, and we're going to connect this one. And now we're going to take our red hose, hook it up to this, and then our blue hose, hook it up to this, and then we're going to hook up the yellow hose here to the vacuum pump. You want to make sure that you open these up, that way you're pulling from the system. They're opened up. Then we're going to open up our high side and our low side gauge, open up the yellow, and then we're going to take and turn our pump on. This is a battery powered pump by NAVAC. I love these. Link in the description for this. And you'll know if we're pulling a vacuum because it's going to go below 30. Vacuum pump's running. Shouldn't take very long to pull a good vacuum. Use a micron gauge if you're unsure of the level of the vacuum. One thing I noticed on these valves, it says on and off, so I want to make sure I give you the right direction. Spin these this way to allow the air to come through and to be able to pull a vacuum. All right, now we are going to spot our hole for the drain. So here's where we're going to be with our drain. Excellent. Burnt myself. Turned the vacuum pump off. Before that, I closed all of the valves, and now we're going to make sure that it doesn't rise above 30. If it doesn't rise, that indicates that we don't have a leak. While we finish drilling our hole, we're going to go ahead and put some refrigerant inside the system. Here's the drain tube that we use. There's drain tube that comes with the unit, but we like using vinyl tube, so we use some vinyl tube. Here's the drain tube that comes with the unit. The customer didn't want us to use this and asked for another option. He thought that this would break down over time and become brittle and fall apart, so we used some vinyl tubing instead. Now we're ready to charge the unit up, and you can see this is the installation manual, and on page 2 we've got some technical data. So we can see the refrigerant used is 134A, and our quantity of refrigerant is 600 grams. Using some silicone, seal up the hole for our drain and for our line sets. Now we're going to connect our cables to the battery. See, we got our positive and our negative. And we're going to take and connect our negative here, and then our positive over here. Got our refrigerant on the scales, opening it up. Now we're going to take and bleed the air out of the line. And then we're going to take and change our units. First we'll clear it out. Then we'll change our unit to where it says grams. Just makes things easy. See, it says grams right there. Now I'm going to add through the liquid line. I don't want to power up the machine or turn it on until I have refrigerant in the system. Got the positive connected to the positive terminal, negative connected to the negative terminal, and we fed the wires through here. That way you can put the cover back on the battery box, so that's nice. Got the remote control for the system. Make sure you have AAA batteries because that's what powers the remote. Moment of truth. Power on. Looks like we got temperature. Looks like we can turn the temperature down. It displays in Celsius. We'll turn it down to 15 or 16, and I'm going to go charge it. Charging it up. This line should be cold. This line should be hot. That line's hot. This line's cold. Remember, factory charging is the best way to charge this system, so make sure you read the manual and you put in the exact factory charge. Put some more refrigerant in. Sounds like our condenser fan kicked up the speed there. Now it's running. We're going to take a temperature reading, make sure all the vents are open. I've got my dual induct psychrometer. It's really hot outside, so let's just stick that in there. Leave it for a second. And oh yeah, look at that. That is 47, 46. This thing will cool. Look at this block right here. In fact, there's a piece of insulation that we're supposed to put over this block right here. So you may want to insulate these because they will sweat. So look at this, 47 degrees right now. This thing works. I'm pretty impressed. And on the front here, you can change the fan speed, and you can change the temperature up and down and turn it off, as well as the remote. So very cool. Link in the description for this product. Link in the description for some tools that I use to be able to install it. I got the team with me, so it only took us 3 hours to install this. 3 hours, but that's with 3 professionals installing it and learning as we go. But at the same time, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you're a DIY, it'll probably take you 6 hours. If you do it in less time, comment below, let me know, and I'll be proud of you. Okay? Looks pretty good. There are installation instructions in the manual, and you can see right here, after the refrigerant is filled, start the air conditioner, check if the high and low side pressure readings are within normal range. High pressure should be 1.2 to 1.4. Low pressure should be 0.2 to 0.25. Taking some Armaflex and insulating these pipes and zip tying. The most important part after you finish the install is making sure that the drain tube is draining. And it looks like we've got water going out. Install is finished. Cover is on the outdoor unit. You can see it's held with Phillips screws. Really nice. We've got the caps to cover our ports for servicing. I think it looks good. Let me know what you think in the comments. The install's finished. It took us about 3 hours, and I charged about $500 to do this job because we charge about $52 per person per hour. So if you're a DIY, it may take you a little longer. If you're a professional, it shouldn't take you more than 3 hours, depending on the scope of the work and what you're installing this particular split AC unit on. Hope you guys enjoyed the installation video. If you got any questions, put the questions down below in the comments section. Questions can lead to content. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe, and smash that bell, ding, so you know what I'm doing. You've been watching Taddy Digest. I'm Tad, and I'll keep you cool if you let me.